We've got a major coming up, and that is what this reverse sweep preview show is going to be looking at. I'm your host, Katie Bedford, joined by Enable and Pacman. And this major, we've seen a lot of crazy movement in these new groups throughout stage 2. So, Enable, are you more excited about this major or less excited than the first one?
Gotta be more excited. The first one's always, it's early on in the season. There's going to be more space, I guess, through the teams. And you see FaZe, how they dominated basically everyone, even though they're probably going to dominate again. This major is really going to tell us where the teams should be ranked. I think the competition is way closer coming into this major than the previous one. And I think we're just going to have a lot of competitive matches. I think we're going to see series go down to the wire. And we might have a decent amount of upsets. So I'm just excited as a fan to be able to see competitive COD and really see the unpredictable happen, I guess you could say. That's what I'm most excited for. I think it's going to be a great major.
I'm a lot more excited for this one, too. I feel like FaZe's gap is nowhere near as big as it was. I still expect them to win, but that win before was just easy and super predictable.
Dominant.
But like this one, I still expect them to win, but like I expect that final to be a little bit closer this time around, regardless of who gets there. Obviously, the middle pack teams this time around are a lot better than they were before. I think, like with Surge being stronger, with how Florida and Paris are up and down all the time, just that whole middle ground. And then you have LAG. Maybe they are real. Maybe they're for real, and maybe that performance they put in last week is the real deal. Maybe they make noise. We have no idea. LA Thieves, they're at the bottom, but they're still LA Thieves. They could come out and do something and surprise us.
Good.
Right? They could come out and shooting good and surprise us. There's just a lot of talent across the league, and I'm super excited for this one. No idea what really to expect. We don't know what version of OpTic we're gonna see. We don't know how good the Ultra really are. Like, there's just so much to unwrap in this major, and can't wait to watch.
Yeah, I am very excited too, especially teams like Dallas, New York, and others. And who knows, maybe, like you said, some other major upsets from Gorillas. But let's take a look at how those group standings have played out now that the 3 weeks of play have concluded for stage 2 in preparation for that major. Group A, no surprise, FaZe on top, followed by New York. Perhaps a bit more of a surprise, Thieves sitting there on the bottom in 6th, right behind Gorillas. Group B, Minnesota. Enable predicted it, and it happened. Minnesota on top of Group B, followed by OpTic, and then Dallas. OpTic taking down Dallas 3-2 in that final match of the week to secure that second place slot, with the help of some of the other teams and how they shuffled out in Group B. And well, what does that lead us into now that these groups are solidified? The top 3 in each group are in winner's bracket. So let's take a look now at the major bracket coming up. The stage 2 major, OpTic and Ultra kicking things off in round 1 against each other. Subliners and Empire. I'm very, very excited about that matchup. Those teams will face off with FaZe and Rocker respectively. And then losers bracket, a bit more of a mix. Maybe not as surprised about the teams down there. But guys, look at these teams. Look at winner's bracket. What stands out to you there? Is it the OpTic Ultra match? Maybe Ultra in that tough position, or are you more focused on something like Subliners and Empire?
Well, you know what, John? Go ahead. Go first.
Both matches are bangers, right? Those are both great matches. All 4 of those teams are great. But that New York Dallas series is crazy because you have 2 of the top teams in the game who could both end up in the finals in the first round, and it's just a scary match to play first. You have a team that they just always seem to battle each other out, and then from that you go into the Rocker, and Dallas has lost them twice now. So it's just there's a lot of implications in that one, and we can see who we think is the best team in the game, and you're gonna drop one of those powerhouse teams down right away in the losers, and that's always cause for mayhem and upsets and placings that quote unquote shouldn't occur and all that. And we'll see. I mean, Dallas did this to themselves, losing and putting themselves in the 3rd spot.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough. I think the match that I'm looking forward to is the Subliners Empire. It's OpTic looks like they're hitting form again. And while I do think Toronto can keep, the series competitive, I don't see there being a chance that OpTic lose this series, especially because their S&D has been improving. I saw Seth talking about the other day where they haven't been streaming. Like, they're really putting their head down, grinding, not worrying about the content side of things. So I'm expecting OpTic to win that series relatively easily. I don't think it's going to be close. But for Dallas and New York, that's a tough matchup. You know what I'm saying? Like your first series for both of those teams to go against each other, we have those two teams at 2 and 3 in the power rankings.
Mhm.
And it sucks because if you lose that series, like John said, you're in loser's bracket early. At that point, who knows? Even if you catch fire, it is a long run. But on the other side of that, the confidence and the momentum for the team that wins, that could really kind of boost them into that, winners finals spot. So that's the series I'm going to be looking most forward to. I think that one's going to go down to the wire. Both teams seem very evenly matched. So it'll be a good one. That one will be a good one for sure.
Well, then you look at that too. Say OpTic beats Ultra. Well, then you have OpTic FaZe, which will be a potential incredible series. I would love to see them play. And then whoever wins between Subliners and Empire, well, you're going up against Rocker, Standy coming in for that team and changing the entire team seemingly overnight. But losers bracket as well. We gotta give them some love. Pacman, when you look at losers bracket right now, who do you think has the best chance of surviving the initial volley of rounds? Because if you lose in losers, you're out. So
out of the teams that are in there right now, I guess that means I'm gonna have to go with Seattle. I feel like if they do get hot, they can close out these games and win. Even in their losses the last week, they're really close, right? They played some really tough opponents and they're playing them down to the wire. Seattle did look like they were turning around. So I feel like if there's a team in losers that can make that run, that's already there, I would go with them. Don't know what we're going to get out of Florida, LAG, any of those teams, and I don't see them being consistent enough to go very far. So I lean towards Seattle on that. Definitely can't lean Thieves, because that's got to be my answer.
Ooh.
My pick's got to be LAT. No, I'm just kidding. I got to poke fun because right now they're in a cycle.
Yeah.
There, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, I agree with John. It's got to be Seattle. I think of the teams in losers or elimination round, whatever you want to call it, they have been the most consistent. They've looked solid. You could tell they're improving. Pristini's been playing great. If he can keep that consistency, especially, I think they're going to be able to make a very deep run. And, it even shows in the matches. They looked good. They should have beat Minnesota to not even be in losers bracket. And they got reverse swept. So I think depending just on how they're feeling in the beginning of the major, they can make a deep run compared to the other ones because other teams are just so hit or miss. It's so hard to tell. I'm just not confident in any of the other teams in loser bracket, I guess you could say, to really impact this major.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at how Pristini's been playing, and if you couple maybe Octane performing a little bit better to the standards we know.
Mix amp up.
Exactly. If he listens a little better, maybe he looks at that mini map. If Octane can pick it up, if Pristini can maintain, because we know that historically Pristini can also kind of be a little inconsistent, then yeah, Seattle, suddenly they start to look really, really strong. So I have to agree with you guys as well that I think maybe Surge can make something happen, even though they are starting in losers bracket. But that leads me to my next question. We like to do this, the one to watch. It can be a team, it can be a player. Who is someone or someones that you guys have an eye on going into this major? Ian, you can try and slough it off onto Pacman if you want, but I'm going to
this is one where I go first. I gotta keep the train rolling. My team to watch is Minnesota. I said they were going to top the group. That was an impossible scenario that ended up happening because I am that guy. I think they're gonna.
You're never gonna let that go, are you?
Never. That was like a 0.1% chance happening. It happened, but I think they're gonna make to the finals. I do. You can call their period a honeymoon period right now, but I think with that series win versus Seattle, you saw them test their resiliency. Withstanding with this new team, their ability to clutch up. And that is huge. So I think that they've kind of overcome. I don't think they're in the honeymoon period by any means. I think they've already kind of overcome an obstacle that some teams struggle with, right? And that's being able to win a series when you're down, and be able to just find that momentum and keep your head level, essentially, right? Not letting the highs get too high, lows get too low. So I think they're going to make a run. They look great all across the board, especially in SND. Standy helps their team out so much in the respawns. And I think they're gonna surprise some people, even though I don't know if it'd be a dark horse because of how well they looked. And they did get first in Group B, but I still think some people aren't expecting them to do as well as they've been doing, but I do. So that's what's gonna happen. And they're gonna be in the finals. You heard it here first.
Okay, fair enough. My one to watch is gonna be Scump specifically, because if he plays like he did this last weekend, and if he does what he needs to do, that'll give them the chance to beat FaZe. I think that OpTic, they already played them close early, really super close. They should have won, actually, if it wasn't for the BZ 3-piece. But at this stage of the game, FaZe has improved so much since then. If they're going to do it, it's going to be on Envoy and Scump. And I say Scump because Envoy's been the most consistent performer for the team now for 2 years. Like, he's there. He's doing his thing. But Scump needs to be that guy, and I hope that the Mojo tweet was there, and I hope that he has it for real, because if they're going to win, it's going to be on him. Like, he's going to have to go off. He's going to have to keep up with the best sub-duo in the game, and that means we're going to need the legend that is King Scump to come out and do his thing, and I do believe that he can do it. I've seen him done before. I've doubted him in the past. I've been wrong. I'm going to be on his side on this one. I'm actually going to take OpTic to beat Toronto and then upset FaZe. Like, I have this feeling that if Scump's gonna come out hot, and that's what's gonna happen. I just believe. I believe this time around.
Do you think that is dependent on his effort level? Because it seems like he shows so much more effort when he's playing a match that's more personal to him, like the Dallas match. So do you think he can channel that with FaZe?
I mean, he's a veteran. He's been playing so long. There's no way. If anyone tells you this, they're lying to you. That whole, like, you go out there and you give 100% every single time. No. Like, you go out there and you're obviously trying, but there's different levels of trying. There's times when you're putting, like, you bare your soul and you're like, you're giving it your real all. Like, there's no way you're going to tell me
you're
that you played
real life war.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to tell me that you played your losers run, let's say, in an advanced warfare with the same fire that you just played like a UMG on That's a lie. You want to win both matches. It's hard. You've just been playing so long. And that's how Seth is too. Like, he goes through time periods where he's not really trying, just doing what he needs to do to get by because he's talented like that. But if he's really trying and really putting his head down, he's disgusting. That's what he did before Champs. Like last year and in Black Ops 4, he hits these modes, and if he does that, it gives them a real chance to win, and I think that he'll do that again.
I think it's a little different. Just to touch on that, I think it's more of a mentality thing for Scump, where he's been playing for decades. It feels like, and his nickname is the King. For majority of his career, he's been considered like the best player in each game. I think. At this point in his career, you can't say he's the best player in Cold War. He was the best player in Modern Warfare. And I think that, it gets to him a little bit, as it would with anyone. He sees these new players, the Simp, the Abizi, even on his own team, his teammate Envoy. So I don't know if it's necessarily an effort thing, but he needs that recognition. You know what I'm saying? To have that confidence again, like, what? I am the king. Like, I haven't fallen off yet. And I think his performance versus Empire was crucial for that going into the major, to where John was saying, like, he's going to be an important piece if they want to be able to beat FaZe and really make a run and potentially win this major. But so I think as long as he's confident in how he's playing, and he's hearing the talks of like, oh, Scump looks really good, I think he'll be lights out all major. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, well, I think if I have to look at anyone, and maybe a little bit different, but I want to watch subliners, and I want to in particular watch Clayster, because subliners have been so good, and especially with the way their season started and with the shifts and the uncertainty, that team, that group of 4 have shown themselves to be really good. I want to see them show me they can be the best, or they can be number 2, or they can get out of that 3rd place spot. And I look at Clayster in that, right? Because I think I want Clayster to be that leader that can help kind of corral the Diamond Con, the Mac, and give Asim that kind of that energy and that gas he needs to have that confidence to play at the top level. And especially for Clayster, if a series maybe isn't starting to go your way, maintain that composure? Because we've watched before, like back in the Dallas series they had in stage 1, after they got come back on and the control, you kind of just watched him kind of sit back and look like he just gave up for the rest of the series. So I look at subliners, I look at Clay. Can you be that leader for them to take them to that next level? I mean, we've seen him do it with multiple rookies over multiple years. He's the oldest pro in the league, and he's playing some of the best COD he's played in a long time. He's showing us that he can do it, but I think I want to see subliners make that next step. What do you guys think?
I like that. And I mean, that first match against Dallas is what it is. They win that match, and almost in my head, no matter what happens in the one after that, I think that is them taking that next. That would be a huge win at the right time. And it just, I mean, I expect them to win that one, by the way. If they were to beat Empire, I would expect them to go on and win just because of the confidence that Ian was talking about earlier. Coming off a win like that, how do you go to the next match and lose, right? You just feel, you got to feel something about your team going forward. And I think that's a great point, Katie. I think that Clay does need to figure out how to get these guys over that hump, because this hump is the hardest one to get over. This is the championship hump. Once you beat a team like Dallas in the major, now you're you go from a top team to a championship caliber team. And that's...
Right.
It's all mental.
I'll tell you what, I think they're a team to watch for a little bit different reason than you guys have. Even if, say, they do well in this major, right? Say they get third again, or like a top 4 placing, but other teams, say like Minnesota or newer teams, make it to the finals, you got to wonder, do they make the switch and add Hydra? Hydra's been lights out in challengers. That's why I'm watching them this major. I think they're going to do well, but it's not even necessarily of them doing well. If they maybe plateau and they get the same placing, I wonder what the mindset is behind Clay, the management side of things. Is that the time to really try Hydra out? You know, if they bomb out, I definitely think Hydra will be moved. But even if they have a solid showing, a repeat of last major, I wonder if that's still enough. Not enough growth from major 1 to major 2 where they try Hydra out. So that's why I am excited to see how they do this week, because I think this week is going to be big for them and their roster moving forward.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And I agree. I actually really, really like that point on how this could potentially impact the roster, those core 4 going forward after the major. And bold predictions, though, something that we also love to do. And Pacman, it could be a certain series. Maybe it could be winners final, losers final. Who knows? But a bold prediction from you. Who do you have your eye on that you think could maybe cause a stir?
I mean, I touched on it earlier. I think that OpTic's going to win that first series against Toronto. Then they're going to beat FaZe. And then FaZe is going to beat everyone else and end up winning the tournament through losers. But OpTic's going to have that bit of a run. OpTic's going to have that bit of the run where they're going to show it, and Scump's going to show us dominance. But at the end of the day, FaZe is FaZe, and they're going to come out and win from the losers bracket.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. I like that a lot, actually. FaZe from losers. Okay.
I mean, that prediction was I'm still I'm still on the train though. I'm on the Minnesota train. My bold prediction is Minnesota beating FaZe in the finals.
Oh, they're winning
5-4.
He's going all in. Johnny,
Yeah, this is like my hot take. You know, okay, let me rephrase that. Minnesota will be in the finals, and it will be a competitive series. Win or lose, I think they're going to take FaZe to the distance.
So you went from a real spicy take to like a lukewarm, mild take.
That's a hot take. You think people think it's going to be Minnesota FaZe game 9? I don't know who. I'm not going to say who's going to win because I think FaZe.
I hope it's not game 9, please.
It's just
Please.
Game 9 would be long.
If they did it, that'd be amazing. But at this
series.
stage, do you think any team can take FaZe in a long series, an extended series?
No.
I don't.
No,
Dude, I look at FaZe like how I look like. You know what I'm saying? FaZe loses to LAG in the regular season, but like teams with LeBron on it. You know what I'm saying? It's like
you shake off.
beating LeBron.
You said regular season. I don't remember that.
Yeah, like it's just I don't know. It's tough, but Minnesota looks good, man. They
do.
OpTic and Dallas. Last time OpTic plays FaZe.
They did, but they still have this like hard point weakness. It's not like they're bad at it anymore like they were, but it's not strong.
If we combine our bold takes, though, if you think OpTic upsets FaZe, I think Rocker might, you know what I'm saying, get the rematch versus OpTic where they dominated.
That's a good point.
And then they might be in the finals.
Wait, are we geniuses if that happens, though? I think we are. If that happens and we
And
combine them,
both
and then
lottery tickets, Katie, you get one too. All three of us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so then you guys have teased this out a little bit. So the grand final, I know that Ian had the spicy take and dialed it back a little bit. Wasn't too confident in himself, perhaps. But the grand final, just to restate it, Pacman and Enable. Enable, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think is going to be in the grand final? Who do you think is going to win?
I got Atlanta FaZe, Minnesota Rocker in the grand final. Both those teams playing lights out lately. It's going 9 maps. It's going 5-4.
Jesus Christ.
It's going 5-4. This is going to be the most wildest major we've seen in a while. It's going to go 5-4. I think FaZe will win it. I think they're just experienced as a core team, with those 4. The Ice, they obviously have very talented players. They'll clutch up. I think it'll be a close SND for last game, but I do have them taking. But Minnesota's going to be there, man. They're going to be there in the finals.
I'm going to go with FaZe coming from the losers. And it's going to be, and they're going to get the rematch versus OpTic. But here's the thing. When they meet them in the final, you know how hard it is to beat a team twice. When they meet them in the final, it's going to be a wash. It's going to be a wrap. Like 5-1, 5-2 FaZe. But OpTic will have had a great weekend to this point. But when it comes back there, and FaZe, that means FaZe is going to have run off just win after win after win after win. You got to understand that in my mind, in my prediction here. FaZe is going to win that series. But I do see OpTic playing really strong and getting all the way to that final. I have them beating Dallas in that winners final, and not Minnesota. I feel like Minnesota's going to lose and getting to that place. But then at the end of the day, it's FaZe. And FaZe takes it.
Back to back. We got to throw it back to you, Katie. Who do you think will be in the finals?
Okay, so my winner is gonna be a little boring because I'm gonna go with FaZe, and we're all going with FaZe. I'm not going to be Satan. I'm not going to be Satan like Ian and say it's going to map 9 because we all have lives and things to do. But I am going to say that it's going to be FaZe subliners. I really, really love that roster. I've talked about them in a couple of the other shows, and I know Hydra's been really good, but I just like the team, and I don't want to see anyone end up getting benched. I want them to achieve this greatness or the potential of that greatness that I really think that they can get there. I really have faith in that roster to be able to achieve a grand final appearance. And do I think that they could beat FaZe? Yeah, actually, I definitely think they do. I think DiamondCon, Asim, Mac, Clay, I absolutely think that they can perform at a caliber which could set them up for an upset over FaZe. Do I think FaZe is still gonna win? Yeah. So I'm gonna say FaZe wins final, but I would say maybe like a 5-3. Or
so
5.
one.
That's kind of close.
Hey,
10 minutes less.
No, because with all the ad breaks, that's 30 minutes guaranteed.
Okay, that's fair.
We
That's
gotta
fair
go
point.
to Dragons, COD Mobile. There's a lot going on there.
Talk about it, because man, I was like, is it game 5 yet? I swear, what
year is it? I don't know. But no, I gotta say subliners FaZe, but FaZe just looks so good that I can't reasonably take that win away from them.
We all have FaZe, but we all have different.
We have
opponents.
different. Yeah.
So when I win, when it's FaZe Minnesota,
okay.
We could bet some on it.
That would be incredible. I would hate you for that, but we'll have to see. Who knows? Maybe it could be the Minnesota. Maybe it could be the OpTic. FaZe coming from losers, and who knows? Maybe it could also be subliners going up against FaZe, but. Reverse sweep, we have all agreed FaZe going to take Major 2, so we'll see if we're right or wrong, and we'll discuss all of it in reverse sweep episodes following the Major, which will be live in person, so stay tuned for those. But thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see how everything plays out in just a couple days.